How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation. It's time to get creative. It's time to get that imagination running wild. And it is time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Jusko. If you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. He is a phenomenal artist. He's worked on a ton of superhero stuff and Conan and some really great projects. I'm really a fan of his work. He's always got a creative mind and a great use of color and a great understanding of anatomy, and I really like his posing and stuff too. This is some I believe this is John Carter from Mars stuff that I really liked, and I love the imaginative creature that he created, where you like blend right at the neck, comes another chest over there. I think that's really cool. And it's a nice, the mix between the greens and the reds and a little bit of an orangish background. Very cool. Again, some beautiful work here. Great layout. You can see that there's kind of a line of action working throughout here to follow too. That's really nice too. This one I thought was a great composition. Just going from like the inside of a creature out. I thought it's a really great way to frame your shot or your illustration. Really great, and it's got that nice contrast of the greens with the reds, and then a little bit of like the yellows in between and everything too. Again, another I believe it's John Carter from Mars. I could be mistaken, but I really like the layout of this shot too. Just everything is really placed so that it's got a great silhouette throughout everything with those great lines to follow that really frame the shot really well. Or this piece. But anyways, I want to share a quote with you guys that I found of his as well, and that's I had to get comfortable trusting that my first ideas would work and run with them. And I think that's definitely something that we haven't really talked about a ton here. And there's kind of two schools of thought on this, and that's that your first idea is usually never your best, and that it takes a long time to really refine an idea and really develop it and then reiterate on it and everything too. But I personally, this is just me speaking for myself, I think there's something really fun and playful to that first initial thought or impression or vision. If you look, I watch a lot of improv, and I used to do improv back in the day a lot, and I really enjoy it. I think of course it's not going to be something that's really, usually for the most part, it's not going to be something that's got like 4 or 5 dimensions to it. It's probably very simplistic, but I think there's something that just going with an initial idea, sticking with it, and coming out on the other side, rather than toiling over what you're going to do for hours and hours and hours and then not even doing anything, even though it might be a better idea down the road. I think sometimes it's important to just get that initial idea and just go for it. I think sometimes if you spend a lot of time reading and researching and everything, a lot of people talk about how they just go over and over and over and over before they really settle on something. And I think for probably a lot of people, that works really well. But I think there's another school of thought, and this one especially, reading this quote kind of goes along with how my brain works a little bit more, in that for myself, I just need to like get that stuff that's in my head out on paper when I'm drawing and stuff, like just sitting down and doing it, using that initial idea, and then chances are while you're doing it, it's going to evolve and change from where you originally started as well. But I think it's important to really just get in the seat, trust that once you've got some experience, you don't have to be a master, it's going to go somewhere, and that idea is good enough that it can at least take you down the right road. And then if it's not, you have to be okay, especially with going with more of a seat of your pants style working, that you have to be okay chucking stuff too, and you can't get too special or too careful with your work, that you can just get rid of it. But that being said, kind of a little bit rambly, but it's something that I don't think we've really talked about here, and especially with this video series that we do with you guys every day. Some of the ideas that I come up with, they're probably not as strong, and they're definitely something that when I'm rewatching them, I'm like, dude, I would have done this a totally different way. give me a couple more hours to really tweak it. I think there was some things that were working, but some things that weren't. But with trying to keep stuff coming out every day so that we can hang out together and learn and grow together and share this stuff, there's going to be days where I'm off my game because I'm sick, or the idea just really wasn't the strongest idea that we could have gone with the rig or whatever. But I think it's important to have material and stuff out there that's more like this, because I don't know that there's a whole lot of improv or quick fire in 3D animation stuff. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, if you think it's better to really plot out your shots and really go through and do more of like a studio approach where you rough it out on paper, you get down all your breakdowns and all everything, and really lay it out before you even get into Maya. I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but let me know what your thoughts are on that quote and what you think Joe Jusko really meant there, and what that means to you. That being said, let's go ahead and get into some animation. This is the Muscle Man rig. It's a free rig you can grab over at Creative Crash. And if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of the video, make it look like he has some goggles here because the camera angle. We'll give ourselves 48 frames, it's 2 seconds of animation, and see what we come up with. I go off and I find a different rig that I've never used before that is a free resource that you guys can play around with too. And we kind of just hang out. We got a little bit of over the shoulder, hang out with me while I animate, maybe learn something along the way. The main goal of doing this stuff is to make you guys feel like you're not alone out there as you are working on your creative projects, and make you feel like you've got another person in the trenches giving you some encouragement and some thumbs up because you guys are great. And also the main goal of this stuff, there's kind of two parts, is to hopefully inspire you guys to go off and create, whether it's because you see something that you've never done before and you want to learn and you want to go off and try it out, or you're way miles ahead of me from where I am, and you see some problems in what I'm making, and you're like, you know what, that's a cool idea, but I could have done it better, and then you go off and do it that way. Or for whatever reason, you just see that I'm putting up stuff every day, and it inspires you to, I should get going more too. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this one. For what I was thinking with this one, do something a little bit different. I'm not saying walks are getting, I'm just in the mood to try different things. Sometimes I'll get that way, sometimes I'll just want to do walks for a while, which I think walks are pretty straightforward at this point. If you've been following the channel, you have lots of examples of me doing walks. So let's see if we can maybe try and do some push-ups. Thought that would be kind of fun to try out. We'll have to see. Again, I've never used this rig, so we'll see where that might be a problem. But I think for the start here, shoot, you know what I didn't check here is I don't know if there's an IK switch for the hands. Didn't even bother doing that. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, sorry about that. I was just trying to find, I was pretty sure there was an IKFK switch here, and it looks like there it is. So I just want to make sure that we're getting, if when doing a push-up, we want to make sure that we can really plant those hands down on the ground here. It's an important thing to get that plant working, because otherwise when we lift up, we have to get in there and really tweak every single frame to make sure that it was getting that feeling of being planted rather than actually being able to plant it. Okay, so we just want to create that first nice kind of storytelling pose here. The thing that's going to stink is if we don't get a toe controller in here. We might not have one. If we can't break the toe, it's going to make this a little more difficult. We can still do it, but it means it's not going to be harder to sell. Okay, now this is kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier with that first initial idea. I think what would be better for this is to try and actually do maybe some sit-ups instead, because wouldn't have to worry about the toes not working, and we can keep the arms in FK instead of IK. So I think we'll try that again. Still want to do some sort of aerobic thing with this guy. I feel like that would work well. But we'll find something different that we can do with that. here. And let's take chest here and rotate it. Shoulders, right? Okay. I'm gonna cross this above the chest here. His arms are kind of funky, but I think we'll make it work. We'll figure out a way. And we'll rotate that up here. Get that nice across the chest feel. Okay, I'm gonna get the other arm here. Kind of on this hand here. Okay, and let's go ahead and look at this main hip controller. We'll adjust that a little bit more, see if it really works there. Okay, there's definitely some stuff we're going to have to play around with here. Let's go ahead and do that. And we'll rotate that head forward a little bit more. Okay. And let's pull his feet out a little bit. Let's see if we can't push these knees out and see if that helps the deformation there. See, that's kind of funky. Maybe we can pull them back a little bit more. Try to do something like that, just so that we don't get such deformed knees here. Okay, we can start there. Do we have any fingers? Okay, we do. Curl up, curl up. Take that pose a little more. Okay. Let's look at the other hand here. Curl down, middle down, down, and thumb down a little more here as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and make sure we just have nerve curves, nerve surfaces, and polygons selected. And we'll go ahead and grab everything here, set our frame from 0 to 48. Grab everything here. And set our first key there. Delete that. Okay. Now let's get the main hips working here. Let's do this on 14. Forward. And 28 will go back. So let's go Window, Animation Editors, Graph Editor. Let's start this on 7 here. And that way we can bring it back and have it kind of cycle. So it's got endless steps. And we'll bring it down a little bit. We're definitely going to have to do a lot of tweaking, but I just want to get the main thing working here. Okay. And we got to make sure that the eyeballs are going to unkey those, so let's just delete that so they don't stick there out of his head here. Okay, and let's look at the rotate X here, and we're going to make it so it doesn't slow in and slow out on that last one, so it gets a little better cycle. Okay, so let's see. Okay, and then go ahead and do a little bit of scooch in and out, just a little bit. And I think we're going to go the other way though, just a little bit of slippage on there. Okay, let's go and look at that now. Keep it the same. Yeah. Ooh, might just be too much. I'll come back somewhere else. Okay. Let's go ahead and see that now. Might be still a little too much, so let's go ahead and minimize that a little more. Okay, and now let's look at the chest and how we want to approach that. I think what I want to do here is drag it there, pull it back, drag it there, drag it there, and pull it back. So let's see here. That might be too much. Try and keep the volume here so that it doesn't break up too much here. So let's see that now. We might have to do less on the hips here. Just scale that back a little bit more. And then we'll take here. Let's see. No. Feels like that's going the wrong way. Let's do it this way. Okay. Feel like there's a little too much slippage, so let's pull that back a little more. drag in the head here. Let's actually do it in the head itself. So I would drag back a little bit there, pull in a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there, and then back again. So let's see. Okay, definitely need to minimize that, and probably the neck as well. So let's see that. Okay, it's got looking now. Probably amp up the head a little bit more. Let's see here. Let's do a little bit of foot raise here. Lean up here. Go back down again. Rotate up here. And let's see. Let's see here. And it's delayed about 2 frames. Lower it. And I also want to hold it. So, and this doesn't have to be too uniform. Maybe another frame forward here. And let's take this one and let's push it one more frame forward as well. Again, maybe one frame forward for everything here. And let's minimize it a little bit more. And let's make this one another small one and a bigger one. And this one will do a bigger one and a smaller one. That would do more here. So let's amp that up a little bit more. Maybe we'll scale it universally back a little bit more. So let's see. And now I think I want to tone down the neck a little bit, since we amped that up. So let's go ahead and see that. Now to have just a particular butt controller. Yeah, okay. So this might be fun to go back and forward. And that way we can kind of offset with the butt itself. It's not doing the whole hip here. Back of hips, let's see. too much forward here. So let's scale that back. And scale it back. Cool. And let's see, do a little bit of mouth. I could do a little bit of mouth since it's got a little bit of breathing. I don't want this to be uniform, that should be a little bit skew. Okay, and we got a little bit of brow, right? Do a little bit of bounce in the brow here. Raise it up here. Let's lower it a little bit to start off with, so we got somewhat of a raise here. Down again. Raise it a little bit there. And down again. So let's see here. Do they have like a blink? We do have a blink, okay. We'll just do a blink in throughout there too. We'll hold this from the beginning a little bit more. Let's see here. Keep a couple more frames to get by that blink here. Okay, feels pretty good. And let's look at the arms here. I'm going to do a little bit more rotate X. So I get that space there. And then let's go ahead and bring that down a little bit more there. Up a little more there. Down there. There. Just mimicking those keys there. Except for right around here, it needs to be up a little bit more. Just so it's not intersecting here. Okay, that feels pretty good. And let's look at the elbow. Let's do just a little bit of give here. Not a lot, but just so that those don't walk off here. Let's see here. I think I want to delay these a few more frames between each other so they're not hitting the same timing. wrist here as well. We'll go back to doing it on 7. Just so we get a little bit of give in the wrist here too. And let's look at the fingers. There. Do a little bit of drag out there. Okay, that looks not that great. So let's approach it again. Let's undo the finger moves here. Let's look at the wrist still before we go any further. Actually, let's work on the arm. There. Oh, I think I did this on 14 here. Let's see. What did I do wrong? Yeah, let's start at 7. Okay. Try to keep it more, no more drag, and held on to the body here. We want to lift it up again. And then go here, and just kind of mimic these frames, and go back to where we started. Okay, I feel like we could probably do less here. And do a little bit of elbow here. And back up. We gotta be careful that we're not intersecting there too much. Something more like that. Let's turn the elbow down. There we go. Yeah, let's get the wrist. Should be this wrist, right? Okay. And this one, I'm going to go back to 7s. So we'll go ahead and tilt it here, do a little bit of lift off. Actually, let's keep it right about there. And go back to where we started. So let's see. This is too much. I want to keep it feeling like it's plated on the arm or on the chest here. Let's see. We could even do a little scoot. And go back there. And just do a little side scoot on the foot, just to give it some variation from the other one here. make sure we hold that to for a few frames. We'll go back to what it was before. I think we're going to go out a little bit with that instead. Okay, now let's see if we can do a little bit on the fingers here. Just so there's some variation on those fingers there. Toward to intersect here. I think we'll need to bring the fingers off, curl down a little bit more. Okay, let's go and look at that again. That feels pretty good. Got a good sense of tension, weight in there. I think I'm going to make the rotates on this foot a lot smaller. Just so they're really kind of micro movements. And same on the other side. Not as much, but a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's take a look back at where we started. We were looking at Jusko, and he said, I had to get comfortable trusting that my first idea would work and run with them. And as you can see here, we were talking about that in the beginning, and our first idea was to do a push-up, but ended up that rig wasn't really as built for that kind of movement, and we could have probably pushed it to get that, but I think this ended up being a stronger idea, and we still got to do something a little bit different and explore and learn together. And that being said, thanks again for all the likes and the comments and subscribes and everything. You guys are wonderful. I love you tons. If you do end up using this rig, definitely share it back so I can see all the wonderful stuff that you guys are coming up with and give you encouragement and thumbs up and feedback. And that being said, I love you guys' thoughts, and we will see you for some more animation tomorrow.